fight people that are socialists because it's just like the way it's like people just point. It's like, oh, this is the natural order of things. Capitalists are against socialists, and it's like socialism is a fucking government.
Yeah.
Capitalism is an economy. They're fucking nothing like each other. And to say they're exact opposites is just like mind-numbingly fucking retarded to me. They're not. They're not at all. A socialism is a type of government. A capitalism is not a type of government. It's a type of economy. They're completely different levels, completely different semantics, but yet capitalists want to argue against socialists, and socialists want to argue against capitalists. It just makes no sense to me at all. It's like, why the fuck is an economist arguing against somebody fucking from a governmental stance? It's like, you should be arguing other fucking economists, not fucking somebody that has a governmental stance. It's like, I'm trying to think of like another example that would make absolutely just as...
Well, here's why I kind of disagree with you. Is that the whole point of capitalism is free market capitalism, laissez-faire, is to keep government out of the way and let the economy run itself. The whole point of socialism is to let the government monopolize, jump all over the economy in order to save us, keep us safe. And there's always all kinds of emotional reasons for why the government should be on top of things, whether it's regulating Wall Street or whether it's the Food and Drug Administration regulating doctors and socialists have a tendency to think that government keeps you safe, where capitalists are aware that government doesn't keep you safe and that the private sector joins forces with the government. So that's why I disagree with you. I mean, they are kind of flip sides of a coin.
I mean, they're kind of flip sides of a coin, absolutely, but I just, to me...
Your argument is that capitalism could exist inside of socialism?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely, that could. Because that has happened. I mean, things there is similar capitalist structures that have, like in East Germany, they had basically everybody's an entrepreneur, business owners, or whatever, but the government tells you exactly what prices you can sell stuff at, what prices you can, interest rates, and the government capitalizes on. Well, the government controls every last aspect, and it seems like you're an entrepreneur. So yeah, you do have a profit motive. So socialism isn't straight up just what Karl Marx said. There's other forms of it. So I'm with you. I know what you're saying. So it can kind of go both ways.
Where it comes down to the real problem in terms of my head when you want to be a true capitalist, all right, what stops bankers in a true
the free market? Because if money came from the people, you wouldn't be able to do what's going on. I mean, what is it? Citibank right now has like $400 billion worth of derivative exposure. If the money came from the people and came from small banks and there were multiple competing currencies, which is incredibly...
You're talking about if we decided to go back to gold and silver and having money based on something
more or less, yeah, close enough.
You know what I mean?
If money came from small banks,
if money had
multiple competing currencies,
it wasn't just based on some money's value wasn't imaginary based on what you. If our value of money wasn't like a fucking stock share,
yes,
where it wasn't based on what people thought it was based on something that was.
If money came from something if it was backed by something. I'm not saying the gold standard is the only way to go. I know that the thought of going back to gold standard is it's silly at this point because we're so far removed from it. But having money backed by debt and having it issued only as a monopoly through the Federal Reserve is what allows huge corporations and the banks, like you said, to just create money out of nothing. And if the money came from the people, small banks, what would happen is people would be responsible. So if you had multiple competing currencies, what would happen is people would want their currency to stay strong and not be hyperinflated, so it would matter. And that's the difference in that people would actually be aware of
once again, what's stopping bankers from being able
creating shit out of derivatives, money out of nothing?
No. From being able to manipulate rates of things like that. That's the thing that drives me nuts. Is that bankers are able to bankers basically they get to charge the interest rates on things, right? Like a bank is going to give you a loan, right? They get to charge you the interest rate at which you get to pay the loan back, right?
Yes.
Now, that is a kind of power that like is unrivaled.
The Fed has the government has that too.
No, but what I'm saying is that like in a true capitalism, let's say that you're talking about the idealistic capitalism where government doesn't exist and everything the free market is. What's stopping bankers in that?
From charging you interest?
That's what I'm saying. Is what's stopping them from being the end all and be all power because they're the ones.
Interest isn't a bad thing.
No, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. What I'm saying is that, like, what's not allowing them to give their own arbitrary rate? You know what I'm saying? Is that they could set it whatever they want because they're the ones that are the
no,
bankers,
they can't.
You know
because, well, right now the Fed sets the interest rates. And then after that, it would be time and people that set interest rates. And if you had an interest rate of 4 billion%, nobody would go to you for money. You always want a most competitive interest rate. That's what the idea would be. I mean, we don't have that now. The Fed sets the interest rates now. But if an individual bank was setting the interest rates, you'd want them to be the most attractive so more people would borrow from you.
All right, I understand that. But what I'm trying to say is that, like, you're talking about in terms of competition with other banks, right? What the fuck is that?
I don't know.
Seriously, what the fuck?
This basement is weird.
I want to know what the fuck that was, because I have no idea what that is.
I don't know what that was either.